between the lines. Got to read between the lines. Well, the truth is very simple, very hard to find.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of What's Going On. I'm your host, Tom D'Ambra. As always, we're very thankful that you take the time from your busy day to join us. My friends, a tremendous amount is going on in the world. It appears that, well, not too much here in the United States, but in the rest of the world is awakening to the means and mechanisms of the international bankers. A couple of things have gone on here in the United States that has given me hope that maybe the people are not only educating themselves as to how important the issuance of the currency is, the medium of exchange, but also they have got active. And I'm talking now particularly about the state of Texas, where some things have taken place that I am, number one, very surprised by, and number two, very ecstatic about. A couple of things continue down the road as the international bankers and the corporations that, as Thomas Jefferson said, grow up around them, were able to get the Trans-Pacific Partnership passed. The TPP, you may have heard of it. Now, mind you, my friends, that this consortium of trade agreements was not delegated and legislated, and if you remember from watching this program, legislative is a representative body of the people. So there was no legislative action or procedures done here. What took place is that the corporations got together secretly and they incorporated the language of the TPP, and then they presented it to the insolvent corporation's CEO, as you know, as Barack Obama. And basically, the Republicans were the ones that got, as you've heard of it, called the fast track motions put into place. Now, I want you to think about this. They're calling it one of the greatest achievements of Barry Soetoro's administration. You would think if there really was a difference between the Republicans and the Democrats, that the Republicans would have went full bore to assure that this greatest achievement of their arch enemy, if you would, political adversary, if you would not get this accomplished. But what took place was rather interesting. Not surprising, but very interesting. One, the Democratic House did not go along with Barack Obama, and I'm going to tell you why, and it always comes down to this: money. The Democrats are highly financed by the unions throughout the nation. And the unions are losing clout for numerous reasons. One, there just aren't that many unionized jobs in this country anymore, and the reason for that is because there has been a tremendous reduction of jobs and potential jobs in this country. Two, all the budgets at every level, from townships to cities to the states to the counties to the national, are all suffering budget shortfalls. They're supposedly looking for ways to reduce cost. Well, I will tell you, you have got to appreciate the politicalese language, because here in the state of Vermont, they have said, and this is just so accurate how these people think and talk and lie to you, that they have cut the budget for our bluntness education programs. But yet the budget increased by $16 million. So I ask you, if you're sitting at your kitchen table going over your budget and you need to cut your budget, your expenditures, do you increase them? No. And here's how they play the game with you. They come up with this dream sheet of everything they can think of to add on to the cost of education or transportation or whatever segment of this gluttonous government it may be. And then they come up with this dream sheet total and they say, well, we're going to cut this budget. Now their expenditures are here. Their dream sheet's here. We're going to cut the dream sheet and bring it down to here and only raise your taxes by $16 million. But if you're doing your budget at your kitchen table some evening and you say to your loved one, boy, we really got to cut things back, what are you going to do? You are going to start at where your budget is currently, not your dream sheet. This is how another way of the many ways that they lie to you. I found it interesting that Bernie Sanders, who was running for CEO of the Insolvent Corporation of USA Inc., actually made the statement, he didn't use the word lie, he used the word mislead, lie, that the real unemployment rate in this country is 11.4%. When the government is telling you the real unemployment rate in this country is 5%. Well, my friends, the unemployment rate is 6 different mathematical formulas and equations. It's just like the consumer price index. That's multiple equations. The unemployment rate in this country literally is in the low 20%. Because what takes place is if you have expired all your unemployment benefits, even though you don't have a job, you're not in the equation of being unemployed. And it's the same way with the budgets. Again, this is where our budget is. Here's what we spent last year. Here's our dream sheet. Oh, we can claim that we're going to reduce the budget because we're going to take away some of the cream off the cake of our dream sheet. But yet, as I've just said, your actual cost is going to increase by $16 million for a school system which is inadequate. These kids can't even count change back to you. The other day, it was rather interesting. I gave a young person at a local business here in Lyndonville, Vermont, and I gave the person an extra $2 above and beyond the cost so I could get a $5 bill back instead of having 3 plus the 2 ones I had in my wallet, 5 ones. I wanted a $5 bill. This young person is a college student. Graduated high school, 2nd year of college. She had already punched in when she saw me take out the 10. She punched in the 10, and of course the machine, as all young people today, does the thinking for them. And I gave her the extra $2 just thinking, honey, this is very simple math. I'm giving you $2 extra so I can have a 5 back. Well, she was flabbergasted, had no idea what I was doing. And the sad thing was, she could not do 4th grade math as compared to when I was in 4th grade. So the school system is just first of all, it's all part of Agenda 21. And if you haven't studied Agenda 21, I invite you to get on the internet. There's a tremendous amount of information out there about it. And the other thing is, if you wish to go back and view our programs, we did quite an extensive presentation on Agenda 21. But the point here is another way how they lie to you. And you've got to understand, my friends, as William Casey, former CIA director, said so eloquently, we will know when our disinformation program is a success, when everything the American people believe is false. That's exactly where we are. It's exactly where we are today. But, as I said earlier, there has been a little beam of shining light through the darkness of propaganda, lies, and tyranny. And I am going to speak now about the state of Texas. The state of Texas, my friends, has made some moves in the last week that I find, number one, incredibly enlightening. Number two, also a little scary. And I'm going to tell you why, because I think they see the writing on the wall. The state of Texas, my friends, has over $1 billion, that's B Bravo, dollars. And if you're watching this program, you know we do not have dollars anymore. We merely have Federal Reserve notes. And what's backing them Federal Reserve notes is your ignorance and your apathy. You are not educated as to what they are, and more particularly what they are not. And number two, your apathy, because those of you that are educated about it either feel they can do nothing about it or simply put your head in the sand. And this is the linchpin, my friends. As Amschel Rothschild said so well, you give me control of a nation's currency, I care not who makes its laws. This is the linchpin, the control of the issuance of the medium of exchange. For every Federal Reserve note, understand they're not dollars. A dollar is 25.8 grains of gold and a 15:1 ratio of silver. We've done this many, many times on this program. There is no gold or silver backing that entity that's in your pocket, and that's what you base your entire life on, most of you. It's debt. You, through your sweat equity, through an entity called the birth certificate, is the surety to that facade debt. And what's going on in Texas, my friends, is extremely interesting. A couple of moves they've made. First of all, the governor submitted a bill and was passed in the House, HB 438. This is Texas now, House Bill 438. They did a couple of astonishing things. One, they have over $1 billion worth of hard asset gold in the vaults at the Federal Reserve Bank in New York. Yes, I did say that. They have over $1 billion of hard asset gold in the vaults at the Federal Reserve Bank in New York. They have put the Federal Reserve on notice that they are going to repatriate all of that gold. In other words, they are going to regain possession of it. They have, through this bill, financed a facility that is going to be built in Texas, like a Fort Knox, if you would, even though there's nothing in Fort Knox, but your deception, to hold and protect this gold. This was signed by Governor Abbott, and 2 days ago was passed in the Texas House. Now, some of you may be shocked to understand that Texas has over $1 billion worth of gold. My friends, Texas is literally, depending on who you read, between the 6th and 8th largest economy in the world. Texas could easily, and there's been studies proven to do this, and history proves this, because they did it before, be sovereign unto itself. They can sustain themselves, their economy, their food production, their water, all the substance of life. Texas has the ability to maintain and provide for themselves. My friends, do you understand geographically the state of Texas is larger than the original 13 colonies that founded this republic? The other thing that Texas has done with an attachment in this bill is they have gone ahead and put the feds on notice that there will be no more seizure of assets and properties without proper due process. Who do you think this is aimed at? Can you say another big banker entity? The IRS. My friends, this is exciting to us, to the people who have been studying diligently, to the people who have been trying to educate our fellow Americans and citizens, and to the people who have been trying to educate people throughout the world, for that matter. This program through YouTube now has been viewed in 62 different nations. And it's not about promoting ourselves, it's about getting the information out. I would hope that other states throughout this country would come to the same understanding and conclusions. That one, there is economic catastrophe around the corner. Two, our money is a debt instrument. Three, it is the linchpin of the control of the international bankers that is currently bleeding the Western world. Four, it is very much not in your possession when it's not in your possession. And what I mean by that is there are other countries in the last 2 to 3 years that have, and we've covered this, that have tried to regain their stored hard asset gold and silver from the New York Fed. And well, look at Germany. And we read this to you verbatim. Germany wanted to do an audit of their gold. They were not allowed to do it. Germany, the Fed sent them samples of their gold bars. Actually, they didn't send them, but Germany sent people here. What'd they find? Tungsten steel. When they bore tested the supposed gold bars, guess what? They were tungsten steel. There was a gold coating on the outside, all the same printing, all the same numbers that were on it were registered originally, but the interior was tungsten steel. Argentina, Australia. I will tell you, I think the main reason why, besides their location geographically throughout the world, I think the main reason why Australia signed on to the Shanghai Agreement was because they haven't been allowed to get their gold back. They've taken all the gold and silver that once backed our intrinsic valued medium of exchange called the dollar. That's all gone. Your money is made out of debt paper and debt tin. It's not even made out of nickel anymore. It's garbage. The only thing keeping it in circulation and keeping a value is that the bankers maintain supremacy, the ignorance of the American people, the cowardness and apathy of the American people. We do not have money, my friends. If you've watched this program before, Black's Law Dictionary, we have read this to you I don't know how many times. Money does not encompass debt. Federal Reserve note, acknowledgement of debt, as we've shown to you many times. That's why there's 2 signatories on that bill. A bill of lading. So, Texas, I applaud you. I applaud the governor. I applaud the people who have educated the people, because unbelievably so, when you read the polls about the support of the people of Texas, they're incredibly high in the approval ratings. What do you think has caused the governor of Texas to make this move? I think the governor, and have the legislature approve it. I will think that those political bodies are very much aware of and are watching and witnessing the actions of the international bankers that are bleeding the pigs. Portugal, Ireland, Italy, Greece, and Spain, and for that matter, my friends, the United States, the Eurozone. All of these countries have nothing in common with culture, with history, some demographics of geography. But they're all being bled. They're all in turmoil. They're all in crisis. All the people are hurting. The people, I mean, if you look what's going on in Greece, you can't even, the banks are closed. They're letting you get $60 a day out of the bank if it's open. How long do you think, because we are controlled by the very same central bankers, who, by the way, my friends, just got $28.3 trillion with the bailout? And your sweat equity and your children's sweat equity and your grandchildren's sweat equity and generations ahead are the surety to this debt. Why? Because they gave us permission to print it, to give to them in the first place, and now there is an interest bond due on every bit of that money because they gave us permission to print it, to give to them. It's perpetual debt. Texas is quite aware of what history dictates. And history dictates, my friends, that there is global economic collapse coming, and it's right around the corner. And when is it going? It's been striking America in the slow and insidious steps of inflation. But it's really going to strike America, my friends, just like the Weimar Republic in Germany. When on October 20th, right around the corner, it's that 3 months away, the International Monetary Fund is going to make an unbelievable and very costly to the American people announcement. And that announcement is the following. It is going to allow another currency to be the reserve currency. My friends, the only thing keeping this debt, private bank, script, Federal Reserve note in primacy throughout the world is that it's the petrodollar. And what I mean by that is if you are a nation and you want to buy or sell, doesn't matter what end of the deal you're on, but if you want to buy or sell a petroleum product, well, who doesn't, because the world's based on it in commerce. All the science that would have taken us out of the petroleum-based lubricants and motor vehicles and industry and commerce has all been withheld from you. But if you're one of these nations and you want to buy or sell oil, you have to exchange your national currency into dollars to do it. And if you don't do that, the United States military is going to come and pay you a visit. And if you're looking for some examples of that, ask the people of the country of Iraq. Ask the people of the country of Libya. Ask the people of the country of Sudan. Ask the people of the country of Somalia. I could go on. As a matter of fact, my friends, all the blood that has been shed of your sons and daughters and all the blood that has been shed by the civilian population of these countries has been shed to keep the Bretton Woods Agreement in a superior position globally. But the Shanghai Agreement is about to change that. The Shanghai Agreement, as we know from watching this program, was signed. And a lot of countries have signed on board with it, including some of our most staunchest supposed allies. Why? Because the writing's on the wall, my friends. Taxi cab drivers in Madrid are no longer even accepting the American dollar. You better think about this, my friends. Because my speculation is that they are going to announce one of two currencies. One you've probably heard of. It's called the Chinese yuan. And the other, I'm sure you haven't, even though it's been into play since 1969, is called the SDR, the Special Drawing Rights. And what is the Special Drawing Rights? It is the global currency they are going to bring in. But to do that, they have to devalue the rest of the national currencies. And I will tell you, there is no more national currencies. They are all script of private central banks. So what does this mean for you and I? This means that that loaf of bread that costs $2 now could cost $20 the very next morning after they make this announcement. I want you to think of that. And you're probably asking why. What do I care if the dollar is no longer the reserve currency of the world? And I will tell you why, my friends. Because every country, every person that has dollars is going to lose them, is going to either exchange them for what currency is going to be replaced as it's not that it's, I'm sorry, I misspeak. It is not that it's going to be replaced, it's going to be the opportunity to use another currency as the reserve currency. It's a race to the bottom. And with all the people on welfare, all the EBT cards, that just puts more of them in circulation. And the more of them that there are, and they're a debt instrument, the more equity comes out of your sweat equity as a surety, and the more of them that they are, the less value, the less purchasing power they hold. So if every country who has stores, understand this, has stores of these Federal Reserve notes because they want to exchange petroleum products, opens up the vaults and says, get rid of them all, and they will. What do you think is going to happen to the purchasing power of them debt note scripts? What do you think? Come on. This is really simple here to understand. Can you say Zimbabwe? Can you say the Byzantines? Can you say the Weimar Republic? Can you say Argentina? Can you say the Greeks currently? And soon to say the Americans. My friends, the toll is coming due. And the American people have been so dumbed down, so cowardly, so apathetic, so disgustingly apathetic, that they're going to look around and say, gee, what happened? You understand, my friends, you go to your calendar, you mark that date, October 20th. It's going to be a different set of circumstances after that announcement. This is the reason, my friends, why Texas is getting their hard, intrinsic valued assets in their possession. Texas may actually issue, I'm speculation here, but they may actually issue a gold or silver backed medium of exchange. And let me ask you a question. What would you rather have in your pocket? A debt instrument that your children are the surety for, and you can't go to the bank and get anything with it? Or would you rather have an instrument that has intrinsic value recognized for 6,000 years throughout the world of gold and silver, and you can go to the bank and get intrinsic value commodity with it? Which one would you rather have? Obviously, even for Americans can figure this one out, I'd rather have the one that has some kind of intrinsic value backing it up. Texas, I applaud you. I applaud the people who have successfully educated the populace and successfully have their representatives educated and or their own people elected into positions of power, including the governorship, including the House, including the state Senate, to go ahead and make this demand. Now we know why, my friends. Operation Jade Helm, when we read the map as we did with you, Texas, the entire state, was in red and classified as a hostile territory. Now we know why a good percentage of the military logistics and operation of Jade Helm is in Texas. I applaud Texas, and I am going to watch this situation very closely. And I would think, now I have read the comprehensive annual financial report of the state of the corporation Vermont. And yes, Vermont is a corporation. And I did not see any mention of intrinsic value besides land and stocks and retirement pension funds, and I didn't see gold or silver. But I am going to write a letter, and I'm going to ask plainly if, in fact, the corporation Vermont holds or possesses any intrinsic value commodities such as gold or silver. And if it does, I would hope that the state of Vermont, the corporation Vermont Inc., would regain possession of this as Texas is, although they haven't done it yet. They've put the Fed on notice. We don't even know if it's there. They may get the same thing Germany got, gold-coated tungsten steel. My friends, what is going on with the pigs, particularly with Greece right now? If Germany, if the people of Germany do not give more sweat equity to the international bankers to bail out Greece, guess what's next? This is in their own writing, a bail-in. And you may be saying, Tom, what's a bail-in? A bail-in, my friends, is when they go in to your bank accounts and transfer it to their accounts. A bail-in is when they go in to your pensions, even though they're private, and transfer it to their accounts. And if you don't think this will never happen in the city, state, or country of the United States, Inc., I invite you to research what Detroit, Michigan did. We read this to you verbatim. How they have confiscated and liened and adjusted the payouts of municipal pensions. The city of Central Falls, Rhode Island, has also followed suit. I know, it'll never happen here. It's what the Romans thought. It's what the Greeks thought. That's what they thought then. That's what they're thinking now. It's what the Germans thought. And guess what? I know that's what you're thinking. It'll never happen here. My friends, if Greece absolves themselves from the EU, you're going to see it happen here. You're going to see it happen here. There is a reason why the elite of this country are leaving it. There is a reason why a vast majority of educated patriots have left this country. There is a reason why educated financial advisors are advising their clientele to get out of the United States. Because I know. It'll never happen here, will it, folks? The bankers haven't taken your money system over, have they? Oh, wait a minute. Yes, they have. Since December 23rd, 1913, almost 102 years ago. It'll never happen here that we have no intrinsic value backing up our money. Oh, yeah, excuse me, it has. That's gone on since 1971. It'll never happen here that the federal government will supersede the states in position. It has. We all know the feds are at the top of the pyramid now. It'll never happen here that, as Thomas Jefferson said, the people will wake up homeless on the continent their forefathers conquered. Yes, it has. You don't own a thing. You're a bonded debtor in a commercial law system. You think you own your land? Really? Are you that naive you think you own it? Go ahead and redo your bathroom without your big P sign out there, permit. I got permission to spend my money and my labor to do repairs on my house? How's that work? I'll tell you how it works. It's not yours. I know it'll never happen here that you will need to be licensed and regulated to travel. I know. It'll never happen here that they forcibly put toxins in your children through a process called a vaccination program. That's happening. Look what California just did. And it's going to follow suit. I know. It'll never happen here that you don't have the right to know what food you and your family are consuming. Yes, it has. Courts have come back and said, they don't have to tell you what's in your food, whether it's GMO or not. My friends, I could go on all day with it'll never happen here, when it has happened here. And I mean it. I really mean this. I am asking you to go to your calendar and mark October 20th. You are going to see the potential overnight devaluation of that debt instrument that you base your life on in your pocket devalue like we have not seen since the days of the Weimar Republic in Germany, before World War II. Let us continue. Let's jump across the ocean now. Same bankers are controlling the same mechanism of medium of exchange. Same thing. Understand, my friends, there is no difference between what you perceive to be the American dollar and the European euro. It's based on ignorance, it's based on apathy, it's based on cowardness, and it's forced down your throats by the threat of duress and physical harm. I'd like to read this article to you. This is from the American Free Press, written by Ronald Ray. The derivatives disaster. Plutocrats push world to financial precipice yet again. Money should be a medium of exchange only. The ancient Greeks understood this, as did the Christian world until the 16th century, when the usurers finally convinced pastors and potentates in the age of exploration that a small amount of interest on a loan was reasonable to offset the risk of loss. But the trickle became a torrent and then a flood, as money became an investment instead of merely the means of transacting business more efficiently. Now in the 21st century, the tidal wave of debt created by unscrupulous plutocrats for personal enrichment and the enslavement of the masses threatens to crush the world. My friends, that's not an exaggeration. And you know what I think? I know what they're going to do. when they crush it all up, they'll burn it up by a third world war, and whatever they don't own now, they will buy for literally pennies on the dollar. Ironically, it may be today's Greeks who become the catalyst of destruction when the current derivative bubbles burst. Derivatives are financial instruments that combine all of the worst features of high-interest usury with the safety and security of Russian roulette. I hope you know what Russian roulette is. It's when you hold a pistol, you put one bullet in the 6-chamber cylinder, you spin the bullet, put it to your head, and click. Their most common use is to conceal bad banking practices while making gobs of profits for their big boys. And my friends, they make profits all the way up, and they made profits all the way down. And you're saying, Tom, how do they make profits all the way down? Well, one, they put what's called shorts on stocks and that type of thing. But the big thing is, they had you and your progeny for the next 6 generations be sweat equity for the banker bailout because they were too big to fail. They were too big to fail. Is that true laissez-faire capitalist economic society or system, I should say? No, it's not. Because that is the thing about laissez-faire capitalism, is that the system weeds out the unproductive. That's what makes it such a fine system. You are always excelling, achieving, improving to sell that product, because your competitor is doing the same thing. But now we live in an economic system of fascism. And fascism, my friends, as El Duce Mussolini said, is basically corporatism. It is corporatism. My friends, the difference between Germany in the 30s and the United States today is that Germany in the 30s, and by the way, I know we've done this on the show too many times to count, we financed Hitler. As a matter of fact, folks, we financed all of the tyrants. Pol Pot, Mao Zedong, Hitler, Lenin, Stalin. We financed every single one of them. Every one of them. And we financed some of the most supposedly terrible dictators like Gaddafi. Although when Gaddafi said we're not going to use the American dollar anymore, the Petro Reserve dollar anymore, what do? Well, we sent our agent provocateurs that you know as Al-Qaeda. Oh, I'm sorry, it's ISIS this week, or is it ISIL this week? Or is it the Islamic State this week? I forget what name it is this week for the American people. It's the same organization. We finance them. We give them their marching orders. We logistically support them. And we transport them throughout the world, wherever the bankers need them to go in and create chaos. Same thing with Hussein. In Iraq, we put Hussein in 58. He was beautiful. Well, we don't care he was butchering the Kurds. That's okay. Matter of fact, Donald Rumsfeld, former Secretary of Defense, supplied the chemicals to him to go ahead and kill the Kurds. He was fine until he was going to develop a currency based on the intrinsic value of international barrel of oil. All of a sudden, he became the bad guy. Got to get rid of him. Come on, pawns. Come on, pawns on the chess game. We got a bad guy. You got to go get rid of him. So your sons and daughters bleed so the bankers can keep, again, that Bretton Woods agreement in a superior position. Let us continue. Since not even the creators fully understand them, it is a given that investors also cannot, adding a sinister aspect of deliberately unethical investment sales. Derivatives, however, successful at separating fools from their money. Oh, I couldn't say it any better. And who has a bigger lack of understanding of their money system than the American people? As Gerald Ford said, Gerald Ford, my apologies. He would never be so blunt with the American people to say what Henry Ford said. Henry Ford, 1933 as well. The American people do not understand their money system, for if they did, I fear there'd be revolution by morning. Derivatives are, however, successful at separating fools from their money. Always the top goal of international financiers. They don't just want a lot, they want it all. And when their own initiatives fail, the bureaucratic poobobs resort to time-tested extortion methods against governments in order to obtain a direct transfer of immense wealth from taxpayers to tycoons. What has gone on in this country? Not only have they taken all your intrinsic value, your gold and silver, not only have they liened your land that you don't own it anymore. You used to have a loyal title, now you got certificate of title. You are a tenant. You are a tenant in common, a joint tenant, or a tenant, but you are a tenant. That's why you have to pay your extortion fee called property taxes every year. And if you don't pay that extortion fee, representatives of them tycoons will come and kick you off of their land. And that's why you have to get permission from their system to do repairs to their property, even though it is your sweat equity, your money, your labor, your risk, because you don't own it. This is why you bond your children. How shame on you all. You bond your children to be the surety of a facade. This is why you bond your children. Shame on you. Recently, Michael Snyder sounded the warning klaxon about the inevitable and likely impending collapse of a monstrous, hyper-inflated derivative bubble, which will make the banking collapse of 2008 look like a ride on the merry-go-round. And my friends, when this happens, remember in 2008 when the financial crisis hit? Whose fault was it? Do you remember whose fault it was? All over the mainstream media. Whose fault was it? It was yours. You went out and took the mortgages. It wasn't the lenders that said, hey, here you go. It was your fault, and I guarantee you it's going to be your fault again. And who's going to come to the rescue of these derivatives bubbles, which is a complete facade? You are again, through your sweat equity. This is where we are. This is what's going on in Greece. This is why 65% of the people said no to austerity. And now the bankers are like, oh boy, they didn't go along with our game. Well, you better go along with our game or we're going to punish you. It reminds me of the show there that is supposed to be a child's program, The Wizard of Oz. You know? When Miss Gulch, look up the word Gulch, to consume greedily. She comes on her bike. I've come to take Toto. Toto, Latin for total. It's where we get the word total from. Everything, all of it. I will consume greedily all of it. The Wizard of Oz. Wizard, one who deceives. Oz, Latin for ounce, the basic measurement of commodities. Gold, silver, platinum, all of it. Follow the yellow brick road. Come on, are you really that naive? Follow the yellow brick road? What's yellow bricks, my friends? And that's from a children's story. This is how far the American people have gone. You know, I know some years ago, we did a program, we spoke of, I should say, on the language and who was behind The Wizard of Oz. And the gentleman who was behind The Wizard of Oz, I believe his name was Barnes, but anyway, he was a friend of Paul Warburg, the father of the Federal Reserve Bank in this country. And he knew, because they had control of all the major media, particularly the print of that day, that he could not get this story out, so he made it into a child story. so he could get the word out. Let us continue. Based on Bank of International Settlement statistics, the largest percentage of total derivative contracts worldwide is interest rate derivatives. These investments, really just bets on potential interest rate changes, alone total over $505 trillion, a sum more than 25 times the size of the equally unfathomable $18 trillion U.S. national debt. Yet, they are not even the total of all derivatives. When this derivatives bubble finally bursts, says Snyder, there won't be enough money in the entire world to bail everyone out. They're not going to bail everyone out, my friends. They're going to bail themselves out with a bail-in from your pensions and your savings. And I ask you, and I'm not a financial advisor, I am asking you, why do you keep money in an institution that could close every day, that you are literally losing purchasing power on? Because what are you gaining? Half a point, maybe up to 1.5 points if you're doing real good of interest? When the inflation rate in this country on average is 8% a year? Even if you're gaining a 1.5 points of interest, you're still losing 6.5% to inflation. Why would you even keep it there? Enter Greece, stage left. When the radical Syriza government, after promising change, has thrown the country back into the clutches of central bankers, the same central bankers that control the issuance of our currency. Actually, you know, I make a mistake. It is not our currency, it's their currency. Our currency is no longer in existence. The country stands before an almost certain default on massive loans from the European Union and the International Monetary Fund. Hey, folks, guess where your income tax money goes to? I know, you think it goes to the roads and it goes to the Defense Department and all the alphabet agencies that are here, to keep you safe. No, it goes to the International Monetary Fund. We read this to you verbatim from Title 26. Your income tax money goes to these very same international bankers that are bleeding the world. This is your sweat equity. That you volunteer for. Let us continue. Interior Minister Nicholas Vostis, and I hope I'm saying, I apologize if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, stated candidly, the money for repayment won't be given. It isn't there to be given. You hear what he said? The money won't be given. It isn't there to be given. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me when Y2K was going on, and the chairman of the Federal Reserve comes out and says, excuse me, that we estimate that only 2% of the American people are going to get their money out of the banks. And everybody said, oh, it can't be that much of a problem then. Fools. Fools. Do you know why the chairman of the Federal Reserve banking system said that? Because we're on a 2% fractional banking system. For every dollar of liability that these banks have, they only have to have 2 cents or 2% in their vaults. Understand that. Your loans, your mortgage, your death pledge, is only ledger entries. The only thing that is intrinsic out of this whole process is your sweat equity. That's it. Everything else is deception, a facade, ledger entries. And that's what's going on with Greece. There are 2 ways to enslave a nation, my friends. One by arms, duress of arms, and the other is by debt. There isn't going to be it isn't there to be given. Both sides are struggling to conclude a debt restructuring and possible new loans in order to keep the charade going. What did he say? The charade. But if a new deal does not materialize this month, a deal which would in any event only further the impoverished Greek people. The yields on Greek bonds will soar into the stratosphere as panicked investors flee for the exits. And it's going to be the same thing on October 21st when the IMF makes public the currency they are going to allow to be used as the reserve currency. My suspicion, as I said, is the Chinese yuan or the SDR. I know you don't know what the SDR is. It's been there since '69. Don't worry about it. Go back to sleep. We're good. Of course, the dirty secret is that most of these investors are the same banks that lend money to the Greek government, trying to make a profit at both ends. And even if restructuring does occur, it only delays the inevitable. I think this is what the Greek people have understood. A Greek default would likewise have the consequence of ruining confidence in those countries, especially of Europe, which are propping up. This domino effect is the short fuse to derivatives implosion, and Greece is the lit match. The trouble is that Spain, Portugal, Ireland, and Italy also hold lit matches. My friends, we are running out of time. I would like to continue this theme because I think it's so vitally important for the next week's program, and I will. But I would like to say some personal and heartfelt thank yous. It has come to my attention, and I'm sorry we didn't get to all this, my friends. We will next week, I promise. It has come to my attention that this program just surpassed their 200th show. And I would personally like to thank you, the viewers, for taking your time. I know I say it every time that we're very thankful you take the time from your busy day to view our program. I want you to know that is coming from the heart. Myself in front of the camera, the people behind the camera, the people who help with the research, we are extremely thankful for your viewing attendance, because obviously we do not get paid to do this. It actually costs us money to do this. And I want to say a sincere thank you to you. I hope over the years that we have been a benefit to you in understanding the grasp, the chokehold that these international bankers have put the people of the world, for that matter, not just our nation, but the world, in the death grips of debt. And it's all through a facade. I personally would like to thank Stanley, who has been here from the very beginning, from the day one of never missing a program. He's here constantly. I want to say thank you, Stan. We could have never done this without you. I'd like to thank Bill, who has just gone forward with the knowledge and education of the digital world, the cyber world, if you would, bringing this program now to 62 different countries in hopes that the people of the world can have an understanding that this is a battle for mankind. I would like to thank John Donovan, who passed while we were doing this program. John was a patriot, an educated patriot, and I would like to thank him wholeheartedly, and I hope he is providing guidance to us. I'd like to thank Mississippi Jim, who also in the past has been there for us in regards to running the board and doing some of the editing that needs to be done, which I do not have the knowledge of. I would also like to thank the others who have been behind the scenes of this program, who, I won't use the word afraid, but who are cautious about putting their name out, about presenting to you this kind of information. I will tell you, my friends, there is a lot of risk involved with bringing out this kind of information. I have been interviewed personally. My job has been interviewed. The town fathers of my town I live in have been interviewed because of this program. I have been interviewed by multiple alphabet agencies, including my own job. They actually came to my job and spoke to my EMS partner, my EMS boss, the president of the corporation. There is a risk. They do not want an educated, healthy, vibrant, free-thinking, sovereign people. They want what we are currently, an ignorant, apathetic, ill, cowardly nation. As I say, my friends, education is our best ammo. We still have the means to turn this around and release ourselves from the death grip of these international bankers. I also would like to thank the staff at KATV, particularly Mike, Nate, Brian, Will, Jamie. I want to personally thank you for all your help, all your assistance in helping us format this program and presenting it out to the public. We could not do this, folks, without their assistance, their financing, their knowledge, their education of what goes on behind the scenes. Folks, we always close in asking you to seek truth, to obtain knowledge, to manifest kindness to your fellow man. And we have always closed in reminding you that your government is your responsibility. We thank you for watching.
Read between the lines. Got to read